So, welcome to the special episode of BJ
Yes.
Podcast. As some people like to call it, the Sexipode.
Well, you do.
Yeah, we're still working on that. It
Yeah,
kind of sounds pretty stupid.
I feel like we'll get a better one.
We'll get a better one. But I don't know if you've noticed, Bee's lovely sign that usually says hello there now says
Hell here.
hello here.
Catwoman.
Is that from Catwoman, like the bad movie that wasn't very good?
Batman.
Oh,
It's like the old Batman.
which one?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, fuck.
The only real Catwoman.
Absolutely. Michelle Pfeiffer is so ridiculous.
Zoe Kravitz did a great job, though.
She did
She's
also.
very pretty.
Very pretty. But Michelle Pfeiffer, oh my God.
She's Catwoman.
Young Michelle Pfeiffer, you cannot beat. Oh my God, the Witches of Eastwick.
Oh, Witches of Eastwick.
She was
Oh
just
my God.
A little bit of a crush.
On the topic of sex.
On the topic of sex, I have a huge crush on Michelle Pfeiffer.
In all reality, though, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Oh my God, this is like, we'll probably cut this part out. But Beneath, What Lies Beneath.
Such a good movie.
That was the one where Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I love that movie. I watched it by myself when I was like recovering from my medical stuff.
Yeah, that movie was
so good. She's so beautiful.
She's so beautiful, but she's so badass. I do very much like revenge movies.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Same way.
Are we? It's very interesting when you're laying on a bed trying to figure out what you want to do with your feet.
I don't know what to do.
This is how you sit in a bed, right?
Oh, we're definitely cutting that.
Whatever.
Don't worry about it. We'll see it later.
So for people that are actually listening on the podcast and not watching, we're just doing stupid stuff with our bodies right now. It is not sexual.
I was going to say, we really have to clarify this is the sex episode.
We should probably also say, for people that are listening, we have moved the location of where we were filming from other episodes, and we're actually sitting in my bedroom right now.
Yes, we want to make this a little bit more like a girl talk.
Girl talk.
Yes, number party.
Yeah.
Not in a weird way, again, but
I feel like we don't need to clarify that much.
no,
Well, we can clarify. But yes, if you want to assume we're having a pre-ripped pillow fight with feathers flying all over the place, you do you. That's totally fine.
That is sort of, again, back to like the whole idea of the sex show. We are going to be trying to talk about all of the things, which it's okay to a degree.
It's okay to a degree. If we start getting messages, people being like this happened on Snapchat, people being like, you guys should show your tits. You guys should do this. I want to see you do this. And I'm like, this isn't OnlyFans.
That's not what this is.
This is a BJ podcast.
In all fairness, it sounds BJ podcast.
It does sound. It sounds. And it's fine. Like people that advertise for their OnlyFans or whatever they're advertising on Snapchat, like go for it. Absolutely, that's amazing.
But everyone has their just.
But the assumption.
Listen when we say that's not what this is about.
And that's the biggest thing. Ask first. Don't all of a sudden, like, this is a big problem that I've noticed on the internet, which actually has gotten a lot better. But guys used to just send pictures of their dicks.
Yes.
Without any sort of ask or anything like that. They would just send a dick pic. And now it's changed quite a bit. I've noticed on like Reddit and other things. Reddit especially has gotten very
They'll ask, but then they'll still sometimes send anyways.
You know, I've actually had a really good experiences with people that say like, would you like to see this? Or like, can I send you a picture of this? And I'm like, no, but thank you very much for asking. And then I will go on. It has
gotten better.
Well, then I will usually go on to say, dicks on their own for me? Meh. Like if you're going to dress it up, if you're going to
put some personality into it.
If you're going to put a little top
we try
hat on
so many angles, and then we get the same exact angle every time.
A monocle, like some
googly eyes.
Yeah, a little suit. Like you show me a million pictures of that. I love it.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever done that. But
somebody did that I know, and I will say, kudos.
I actually made a ghost costume for one once, but all I did is take a Kleenex and put little like holes in it, and I was like, schmang. And I was like, you're sexy, so happy.
Well, this is a good way to kind of lead into the episode, which was, it's a lot easier to talk about those things or ask or anything when you're actually friends with the person that you're having sex with. And that's in a relationship or a situationship or friends with benefits, but it's hard to have those open conversations if you're not genuinely friends with the person. It's hard to say
Absolutely.
no, it's hard to say what you like, and that is something I think everybody needs to kind of work on, is having the friendship to be able to do that, or else you're not going to get what you want or what you need.
For sure. And like, you know, you're having sex with somebody and it's new and exciting and stuff like that. Like, that's awesome. But the really great sex comes with somebody that you know well and you've
Yeah.
had
That's why
periods
it's
of time
always
to learn and
it's so
grow.
cliche that sex is a wonderful part of life that everybody gets to enjoy in all sorts of different ways, but it's always better when you're in love.
That's true.
It's so true. And I mean, there's, again, we've talked about things kind of being a spectrum. There's the love of a friend
Mm-hmm.
and being in love, but as long as you have the love of like your friends,
Mm-hmm.
then it's still better than it could be.
Well, I think also one of the things that I've liked to do in the past in this kind of a situationship type scenario is there's people that I've been involved with that live far away or live far enough away that we can't be in an actual relationship, but we can see each other when we get to see
Once
each
in a
other.
while, yeah.
And I always called it the 24-hour boyfriend. And so I would say visit them or they would visit here. Maybe we have a hotel room, something like that. We'd have a lovely time. We'd go out
Yeah.
for dinner. We'd be holding hands, PDA. We'd learn all about the things that had been happening in the life that we'd missed out on.
Yeah.
So much to catch up on. But it's like when you're there in that moment, I was in love with them for that moment, not the way I would be in a long
Long
term
term
relationship when
relationship.
I'm actually in love. But in that moment, I loved them.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful and special. And then when the time was up and we had to go home and leave
Yeah.
it was a wonderful time. And there was never anger or resentment
Or
or
jealousy,
jealousy.
which is a big thing that we've been
Yeah.
talking about a lot too, because that can lead into the friendship part or the sex part. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so crazy how that can sort of push two people apart,
Yes.
and you can't enjoy those really great moments after that.
Well, it's just when people start questioning you, or one of the things that is just my absolute, I can't even, like, I know there's times where you go through someone's phone because they're lying. And usually that I hope this is when you're in an actual relationship
Mm-hmm.
and you've caught somebody doing something
And
awful.
usually only if like it's the only way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like there is the opportunity to have that conversation with somebody where that was unnecessary.
Yes.
And it would still have been something you could resolve. But I have also experiences with that's the only way that somebody would fully admit to what was really going on, is if you had that proof and it's like there's no way around it. I get that, but like otherwise.
Oh, it happened to me once in an actual relationship that was, I don't even want to call it a relationship. It was the bad, bad one. Yeah, well, also,
which we will be talking.
Yeah, bad, bad one, not our mutual one.
No, not our ex.
But he would constantly go through my phone, constantly read emails, read notes, just searching for something to do with another guy, just searching anything. And one time, after, I don't know, 6 months with him, after hours and hours of him going through my stuff, I went through his phone once and it was a crime scene. It was just, he was talking to 100 girls on Tinder. There was all these other people.
Yeah.
His type, which is, we don't want to digress too much, but like his type was single mothers generally that he would lie to. And like, I don't fault these women at all. They didn't know about me.
Oh, of
I
course
didn't
not.
know about them. It wasn't the type of situation where I was like jealous in the sense like that bitch, blah blah blah.
Oh
I was
God,
like,
no.
I felt awful for them because I was like, he's convinced them that
there's
this
that mixed with just feeling like you're not enough for somebody. And I know that that's a very specific situation where it's like you had a lot more going on there, but also I think that feeling sucks. But that's very different than jealousy overtaking you.
Oh,
and
for
like
sure. And a lot of times with jealousy, and I know this isn't everyone, but a lot of times when there's jealousy there, it's because they're the person that's doing something that
it's
they
the
have
projection
something to hide.
they'll project
And
and
like, And they're like,
It's
oh,
like,
well,
oh, so you didn't answer me, so you must be off doing this because that's why they wouldn't be answering you.
there was a really funny meme thing on the interwebs, and it was like, guy calls X number of times, and he's like, oh, you didn't pick up the phone, you must be off sucking dick. And then when the girl calls him, she's like, oh, you didn't pick up the phone, you must be off sucking dick.
Touche, sir.
Touche, sir. And if it is an open polyamorous relationship, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, it might be like, that might be a different context, being like, oh, you're off sucking dick.
Yeah, exactly. Context is everything.
Context is everything.
Also,
and punctuation.
That is something in the future that I definitely want on our list of things that we're going to talk about on the sex show, is like the polyamory versus monogamy and everything like that. Because I'm a big believer that either or is fine, as long as you have sort of, we only look at it in the science of sex or whatever as like the polyamory only kind of works if you have that open, honest communication. But it's like, realistically, monogamy or polygamy, you should only be having those relationships with somebody you can be open and honest with, or if there's resentment, there's all of this stuff
For
like
sure.
that, you're just sitting around waiting for it to blow up, sort of thing.
And I don't know if it's something to do with being bisexual, but like most of the partners, like even long-term relationships that I've ever had, like if they were following somebody on the internet or ever said that somebody was pretty or something like that, I'd be like, oh my God, show me.
Yeah, they're so pretty.
That's
but
amazing. But
if you don't even give somebody the chance to react that way because you're immediately like, oh, I can't tell them, or like you're purposely quiet about it, or it's just whatever.
Yeah,
it's two very different, like, I want to say energies that you're
hiding.
getting from your partner, and that can cause like a shadow of doubt.
Absolutely.
Like, which is, I actually once in a past relationship asked if we could go through pictures together and just like, even on our social media, kind of be like, I find them attractive because of this. I find them attractive because of this. Both ways, because it's not about knowing who you find attractive, but it's knowing a bit more about your partner. Like, it's sharing a bit about yourself.
Oh, I see that you liked Becky's post at 3 in the morning. Who's Becky?
Right?
I'd be like, Becky's hot. I'm gonna like one of her posts too.
Right? Oh, I've had that too. Where in the past somebody was like, "Why are you following all the same people now?" And I'm like, "Cause they're hot."
Yeah. I like to look at pretty people do pretty things on the actually. I like to watch pretty people do ugly things on the internet.
Oh yeah, you liked my ugly face picture.
Ugly face is. I have hundreds of pictures of ugly face where I love taking, like, I did it more back when I lived in Thunder Bay, but like I take group pictures of people and then I'd be like, okay, ugliest face you can make. And I have one that's actually on my social media that was so good that my buddy made a stencil of it and graffitied it in different places in Toronto, because I could never do it again. It was a photo shoot. We had been smoking a ton of weed. But like, I honestly think if you're doing an ugly face and your face doesn't hurt after, you're not doing it right. Totally different than my O face. My O face, I look like a princess.
Sure. Ew. So back to the idea of being friends, though. I mean, you can show your O face to a friend much easier.
Absolutely. I definitely, oh my God, this is probably my favorite friendy with benefits situation, where we dated for 3 months. It didn't work out. It was very similar in, I'd say, like the years, like I was probably like 23 or something like that. So like similar to you and your best friend, like timeline wise or whatever. Yeah. So we dated for 3 months. It did not work out. He moved away for a year and then ended up moving back and being my roommate for like 4 years.
Oh, so yeah.
And we were like best friends. It was amazing. But obviously when he first moved back in, there was still the lines that hadn't been drawn in the sand. Neither of us were with anybody else. So we started having sexy times. But it was a very friend sexy times. And I remember the very last time it happened, we were having sex and just started laughing uncontrollably.
Right? And that's what everybody wants during sex.
Remembering, like, I don't know, the last time that one of us were in the bathroom taking a poop, trying to talk to the person through the door. And I was just like, and I'm like, so this is the last time.
Just the last time. I'm also glad we brought up poop during our sex talk.
Well, we will talk about butt stuff eventually,
Eventually.
and how to avoid poop in all aspects of that. It's called an enema.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now she taught me that through a third person, through a third party, and I didn't know that you taught me that, but I do very much thank you.
You're welcome.
Should we, like, I feel like, I guess we could talk about it whenever. I can write about it in
but
a
I
blog.
feel like, yeah, that's also one that we could make a whole episode about.
Oh yeah,
realistically, because everyone has different experiences with that.
For sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And has questions and whatever. And I remember actually one of my high school boyfriends teaching me stuff because of a porn write-up from a porn star. It was like in one of like the Playboy magazines or something, and that's where I learned it.
I was actually 37, I think, before I did anything of the back nine.
That's true. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. So
it was the switch hitter. Yeah, you don't. I just never
know.
Never know. Well, I wanted to be able to wear a white wedding dress if I ever did, and I was like, oh, if I do that, I have to wear a brown sash. I don't really love that. So
that is a ridiculous rule.
And like I always knew I was never going to get married, and if I did, I was never going to wear white. Everybody looks beautiful in white, and I think you guys all make wonderful decisions.
Do whatever the hell they want to do.
I'm so messy. I know I would have a wedding, and I'd literally I would have wine.
I love the dress though.
Yeah,
the thing where you get to go onto the beach and like.
Oh my god,
I think that's so cool. Like spray painted.
I had a friend that got married, and they're like in the ocean and stuff like that. Cool. Like, oh, it was so pretty.
Not talking about marriage here. We are talking about sex with friends.
But another thing we wanted to talk about is being friends with your partner, whether it be your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend,
because of how
wife.
important it is in order to have especially when it comes to sex. I think sex is one topic. Like I feel like relationships. There's money that can be a hot topic.
Yeah.
There's I don't know, spare time, free time. That can be there's kids involved. There's so many different things, but I do think sex, I do think sex is one that's a pretty common hot topic for when you're in a long-term relationship to everybody. I mean, whether it's good or bad, there's still that topic. And that's why I just think it's so important to be friends with the person if you're in the relationship or sleeping with them or whatever, because you cannot have those conversations. It's too awkward or uncomfortable with somebody you're not connected to in some way.
Absolutely. And I remember being younger and I was not confident. I was young. I didn't know. But there are situations where I would be in a situation with a guy and I would not be comfortable. I would want to stop, but I would never want to say oh, I don't want to do this right now, because I wouldn't want to hurt their feelings and be like, sorry, I don't feel like having sex right now. I'm not in the mood, because I would figure that they would then take that personally.
But part of life is having your feelings hurt too.
Absolutely.
We all had to have our feelings hurt in order to be like, okay, so this isn't so okay, or this is,
but I also knew,
or whatever, or to be able to say this is a great thing, you had to have sort of your feelings hurt in the first place. And so why is everybody why are we so scared to say I don't really want to? No, thank you.
Well, but so in the opposite sense for me, because these were all with guys, boyfriends and whatever. If I think I would also make it about myself in the sense that if I was in a situation with them and they didn't want to, I would have taken that very personally.
Absolutely.
And I would have been well, what's wrong with me? What's this?
Whereas, but I do think, again, we've even talked about the fact that societal wise, I think there is a way, and it's not fair to say, because I do think there's just people, and some people it's harder for, some people it's easier for. But at the stem of it, society kind of raises girls to believe everyone's going to try and get in your pants. So when somebody says no, or you have that rejection, you're a little oh my God, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Whereas with guys, I do think society-wise, it's a little bit more hey, if she says no, respect it, which is absolutely a good lesson to teach them, but we should be teaching that to girls as well.
Oh, for sure. There is 100% sexual assault from women to men, and the guys are afraid to say that they don't want to,
or they don't even realize that it's something they should speak up about.
Or they do speak up about it after, being far too drunk or passed out or sleeping or something like that, and they speak about it after, and people are like, "Oh yeah, you got laid." And I'm like, no, that wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
If you don't make the choice to do something,
it's not something to high five about.
Then that is not cool.
And we high five about everything.
We high five about everything. It takes away your autonomy. It takes away your right to be a human person, to not to get to do what you want.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with being communicative and being able to say no. Your partner should always respect that. And if you are not in a situation where the person respects you saying no, then that's not a situation you want to be in ever again. That person is not for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think too,
I just smiled like a psychopath there because I don't know, my mind went somewhere else. And I was like, I don't know.
Cool talk, bro.
Yeah, I think
Why don't we check it again?
I think I was thinking about the movie Law Abiding Citizen. And I was like, someone says no and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, or then I guess you could just kidnap them and murder them after. So.
I guess that's also...
So we had to take a quick commercial break. And we were just talking about the camera angles and how we wanted to make sure our feet weren't the main focus of the thing. Although a lot of people, fetish-wise, make money on Foot Finder nowadays.
Absolutely. It's not a fetish I necessarily understand, but I'm also very not judgmental about people's fetishes. Because
absolutely not.
Sex is weird. And I remember when you guys, younger, when it's the first couple times and you're like, about I look weird, or noises you're making or whatever, and you're overthinking it because it's weird. But it's so much better.
I started to overthink it when I got older because I hit puberty so late.
So disrespectfully late.
I was 16 and I went on the pill to get my period because I wasn't even having sex, but I hadn't gotten a period yet. And so the first time I had sex, I had basically just hit puberty at 16, and I had never seen a penis before. I had never touched a penis before. And I think I got together with my boyfriend. I think it was the next time that we had sex.
Yeah.
But I literally was that was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Oh my God. Because basically I went from a child to a woman in a very short period of time. So I never had those feelings before.
I will say kind of similar in the sense of, so puberty 16, it was 16 the summer that I turned 16, that I went away to camp, and then I came back and one of my buddies was just like, did you go to boob camp? From Clone High?
Yeah.
And I felt like Cleopatra, or not Cleopatra, Joan of Arc.
I never went to boob camp.
Boom. Because Gandhi says that to her. He's like, did you go to boob camp? And that's what happened to me. It was in a short 2-week span that happened, and it changed a lot.
Yeah.
Of the attention that I was getting from both boys and girls.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Especially all of my best friends, gorgeous, wonderful, wonderful girls, all had that they were sports people. So had these tiny little waists and then big ass boobies. And I remember I've seen a picture of a cottage, and they're two of us or three of us. Two of them are in beautiful bikinis. They look like mature women. We're 15, maybe before 16. I have braces, short hair, and I'm still wearing a onesie thing because I literally have no breasts. I have nothing.
It's weird how that's the same idea. I'm sure it's similar to what guys feel in the change room or whatever. If they're looking at other dudes what is happening? And it's the same. I feel there's the awkward thing on both sides, which is good to remember. It's no one walks out of the change room at my store and is
nailed it.
I look 100% perfect. It's just always oh, I hate my shoulders. I like this, but I hate my hips, or accentuates my nose.
There's definitely certain things B, this is digressing a little bit, but B gave me this red laser jacket. I don't know how long ago it was, a month or two ago or something like that. And she was like, would you wear this? It's not really my color, my size.
Red.
I put it on and I was like, I am gorgeous.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was the jacket, and I could
That is
only
what I love
stand,
about working
like I
in
could only
fashion.
stand like this.
Everybody
Like,
come look at how good I look.
everybody goes, see how good I look. I wore it to a recent job interview, which I did not have to dress up for, but I was like, I just wanted to wear my blazer.
Right? And sometimes, like, that's the thing I love about fashion and working in fashion is like, when I wake up, I would switch styles so back and forth and opposite, contradicting each other. But I wake up one morning and I'm like, this is what I want to wear.
Mm-hmm.
You feel better.
Yeah.
You feel good. And like, it's also funny how many people will like throw out an item that they didn't get compliments on, but they'll keep the ones that they get like 100 compliments on.
Sure.
Because that's important. You got to have that.
Well, because we all like validation. And also, like with picking clothing in general, you're like, or even like lingerie.
I was going to say that lingerie can sometimes be the thing that gives you the confidence to be sexier in that situation. And it may not even be the lingerie that somebody is attracted to. It may be like the way that you are presenting
and
yourself.
the way you feel in it. Like I never really was like a big lingerie type person. And then I went to Victoria's Secret. Oh, yeah. And like I'd always gotten like Licenza bras and Licenza like, you know, very basic things. And I went to Victoria's Secret and got like, I spent way too much money, but I got like two really cute like bustier type outfits with the underwear that matched. And I was like, I feel amazing.
I'm so pretty.
And then like even just going out wearing cute underwear under like regular clothes, I was like, I'm wearing super cute underwear today.
I do find as I get older, the days where I'm like, I look good under my clothes are the days where I actually have like matching like underwear and bra. And it's like, it doesn't even have to be sexy. You can just be like, I matched today.
There was another little meme thing on interwebs that was like, if you're getting together with a girl and she's wearing matching underwear and bra,
then she decided to
the sex. Yeah, you're like the sex was not your decision.
She decided before she got there.
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, but actually, on that note, we were going back to like the confidence thing of saying no sometimes, and that's the other reason why it is kind of connected there too, is just like the confidence that you have maybe in like that outfit or that lingerie or whatever. It is something that took time to even recognize that it gives you that like damn, I look good. And that mentality, as much as a lot of people don't want to be thank God as much as a lot of people don't want to be like conceited, cocky, or like come across like full of themselves, there is that aspect that you need a little bit of that to be confident enough to say, no, not for me. Or like, and this is where my line is.
One of the most attractive things in a person, I feel like, is confidence.
Yeah, let your freak flag fly, because I like weird people. Like you, I brought her home to meet my family, and I think you were like, I heard she likes weird people, so
I wanted to wear a mask and bring the flowers that I was bringing in, wearing the duck mask that she usually wears in her videos, and be like, hi, I hear she has weird friends sometimes.
Because my mom did tell me once, she's like, you attract the weirdos. And I'm like, because they're way more fun. And usually it comes from a place where it's like they're so used to being different or standing out that the confidence to just be themselves, like they had to adapt it. Like it had to be there. Or else it's like, how do you survive if you're like a weird, strange individual and you don't learn the confidence behind being that?
Well, then I think a lot of people like that, like you can be a weird, strange person without confidence and you're just not expressing yourself, and maybe you're weird alone.
And maybe those are the people who kind of the masking or like playing the part and everything. But yeah, or they don't even spend the time to get to know themselves. And we just did or you just did the test.
I did. I did a test that B took a couple years ago, right?
A year or two ago, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd never heard of it before. It's what is it?
So I think you can look it up online at www.bdsmtest.org or just bdsm.org. I'm not sure.
On the YouTube video, we'll definitely post a link, and then we'll try to post maybe in the comments on different other platforms, just because if you want to take this test, it was very interesting.
And I said it to you before you took it, just the idea that you can take it with a grain of salt, but it's any of those little tests, as much as some of them may be whatever, it is another thing that kind of helps you understand yourself a little bit better. We've both done it with mental health.
And I found it like it reminded me, and I said during it, I'm like, I really like how this reminds me of mental health tests that I've done because it'll ask the same question, but worded in a different way, in a different part. So maybe once you've actually answered a couple other questions and your mind's thinking about something else, it'll go back to make sure you really like that was exactly what you strongly disagreed or strongly
and it breaks
agreed.
it down percentage wise what you would be in each category, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you would ever like jump into one of those things too. Like, I mean, realistically, it is just more information about yourself, which can really help.
Yeah, the questions were interesting, and like there was so many things I strongly disagreed against, and like the way I felt about it, and things that I strongly agreed. So the top three that I have are switch, non-monogamous, and exhibitionist. And these.
So, and just before I say mine too, I think we talked about the fact that when I took this a year and a half ago, I was in a certain mindset. You're in a very different mindset than I was when I took this test.
Always been very single.
And now I should really retake the test and see if my answers would be the same or slightly different or whatever. But
so a year and a half ago, B.
Right.
In our DeLorean, we're going to jump back and see what her test score would have been.
Oh my God, I so wanted DeLorean. Anyways, my top three at the time were experimentalist, submissive, and primal prey. But I'm the king of the jungle.
Yeah, it's very interesting because she's the lion and I'm an albatross and she is the king of the jungle. So you would be the one that's preying.
But one of the things that, you know, we talked about earlier that we're going to do a lot of these episodes and there's going to have different topics going on. For example, when you talk about a dominant and submissive relationship, the submissive is actually the one with the power because they're the ones that have that safe word or whatever. The dominant needs to know everything that the submissive actually likes, is okay with, needs to be checking in. If anything, it's kind of usually people who have a lot of power in their day-to-day life are the ones who want to be submissive behind closed doors. And they need to find somebody they trust and are able to do it right. And all of that they're able to just be like, finally, giving up power. And that was something too, when we were talking about some of the different subjects that we're going to be talking about in the sex episode. So those are all, we're going to attach the link for that test if anybody is interested in just for funsies.
It's for funsies. It was interesting. It doesn't take very long. They're not trying to sell you anything or anything like that.
Exactly.
And neither are we. It's just we're trying to sell you more information about yourself for free.
For free.
Come, don't buy our wares. Buy our free things. We are terrible at making money.
Yeah. Well, it'd be great if we were better at it, but whatever.
It would be fun.
We're having fun. We're doing what we want to do. And you know what? That's because, like, hey, I wanted to do something, and I actually asked to do it.
Yeah.
And found somebody who said yes.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And she only had to primal prey me for like 3 hours, stalking me in the woods.
I really didn't, because I was the prey.
Well, you got it wrong that day. I don't know. No, you can't stalk an albatross. Did we talk about the lion and the albatross at all?
I believe so in the first one. We have not discussed the duck and the horse, but that will be another time when we're not on the sex episode.
Yeah,
unless we're jumping into some sort of animal. I am prey.
And funny enough, on mine, prey, what was it? Primal prey. I had 0% primal prey.
Yeah.
Like that was the very last one on this quite long list. Yeah, it was 0%. I was 100% switch though.
But it's kind of cool too to see the entire list of all the different things that you could technically fall under in that category. And that's why it's like there's so many where there's shouldn't be that line unless it's something that's like hurting people or or wrong, illegal.
Illegal. And there's also just like some people, certain things would be just like the last thing that they would ever think of, and it would like gross them out even to think about it or talk about it, and it would be something that somebody else would be like, that's nothing, that's a Tuesday.
Well, also as an experimentalist, one thing I thought about is the fact that like I might be totally okay trying something with one person in
Oh,
one situation,
for
and then
sure.
the exact same thing in a different situation or just with a different person, it may be a hard no.
Mm-hmm.
Like because it's just not the time to try that one because no.
That's actually, I don't even know if I said it earlier, but I was thinking it when we were talking about people sending you like unsolicited dick pics, for
Hmm.
example. And I would say to them, like, it'd be like, a dick is a dick. Like, the dressed up thing is cool. I'd be like, I only really like the look of a dick if it's attached to a person that I care about.
Yeah,
And if it's not
exactly.
attached to a person I care about, it's just a fucking, it's just a dick.
And that's also why it goes back to like when it comes down to us talking about our body, like, oh, like why can't I get puberty sooner? And guys probably feel the same way, but girls are usually like, size doesn't matter if you know how to use it.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, size is not a thing.
so
Like it's obviously a thing, but it's not as big of a thing as most people think. Like when people are like,
it's like
oh
with boobs. Nice
yeah,
boobs are nice boobs.
when people are
Doesn't
like, yeah, you want to see my 10-inch cock? I'm like, God no, and like not anywhere near my
so
body.
that just seems aggressive.
And I'm like, yeah, it's aggressive. I'm like it's. I don't want anything the size of a fucking forearm near me. Like Jesus
Like,
Christ,
I don't know why,
who do you
but in
think I
my
am?
mind, I immediately imagine like the monster under your bed that you would have imagined as a child.
With a big dick forearm?
No, that dick is what I imagine is like the monster under your bed.
Oh my god, like in This Is the End
Oh,
when the
oh,
demon has sex with him, well, like rapes him.
oh, yeah, that happened. Oh my god. Oh, Channing Tatum.
That's such a good movie. Channing Tate, yum.
Yum. Oh, yum yum. Anyways, we've pretty much. I think that was.
I think we've covered everything. We're going to, this is especially now with like sex episodes coming up, but we can in all of the episodes. We'd really like to hear from people and questions, suggestions, any points on things that we've said, things that we might have said wrong or incorrectly, or like,
Absolutely.
you know,
Um,
please don't do it in a way that's like, actually, but actually, I just
I
want to
would
tell
probably
you.
relate hard to those people, so it's fine by me.
You don't
Um,
actually bite off. But we definitely would like to hear from you guys. We'd love it if you like followed us and shared us and did all that fun stuff because
Absolutely.
it
But
just really
but
helps.
realistically too, yeah, mostly I do want to hear like if there's anything situation wise going on with somebody where they're like, I just this is I don't know, interrupting my relationship with this person
Mm.
or this is weighing on it or
Well, I did a lot of online
that
counseling
sort of
with strangers because of the support group that I started, the
the
Dating
dating
Horror
horror
Stories.
stories.
And I was talking to people from all over the world about situations, relationships that had been in. This one was all about abuse and all different kinds, emotional, physical, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But so I spent a lot of time talking to people about their problems, and it wouldn't necessarily be ongoing therapy. It would be someone that generally didn't feel comfortable talking to anyone else in their life about it, and I'm a
Yeah.
stranger.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, I just hit the mic. I apologize. But I get it as well working, like I work at a fashion boutique and just being able to spend like, let's say an hour with somebody, helping them figure out like, I don't know, their fall wardrobe or
Mm.
like an outfit for something. And just how I would naturally get to know them would be by talking and you start hearing them go like, oh, and then this happened the other day and that but like
Yeah.
and I'm able to relate to it by being like, yeah, you know what, interesting you say that because I just went through that last week
Mm.
or and it's funny how much it's helped me and I love when like a customer will just be like, that really fucking
Yeah.
helped, like I really needed that. And I think I was saying earlier, that's one of the things that spawned this as well. Like it
Mm.
added to the idea of wanting to do the podcast because sometimes just talking it out
Talking it out.
or hearing that you're not alone feeling a certain way. So
And
whether it comes to sex or your relationships or your friendships or your family, it's like,
well, and a lot of the stuff that we've talked about here, you and I have spent hours of just talking about, anyways. Like,
yeah,
just
yeah,
that's what we talk about. We talk about not just relationships, obviously, like politics, world, all
But
the
I've also
important things.
found, like, watching you here, there's the same thing with, like, the people who come into the store, like my friends who call me and will ask for advice or whatever. I've seen you get the phone calls like, I need your advice on something. And sometimes just like listening is all somebody needs. Sometimes they need the advice, and sometimes they need to hear that they aren't alone or that you've gone through something similar.
I am much better at giving advice than I am at following my old advice.
Oh,
it's like the do what I say, not what I do. I'm like, I
listen to what I mean, not what I say.
I'd be like, I feel for you in this situation, and I think it's horrible, and this is what I would do. But to give you some context, when I was in that situation, I did not do that at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But looking back,
I don't give advice thinking I know more than other people. I give advice being like, I have done so many things wrong.
Yes.
I hope somebody can learn from my mistakes.
Absolutely. I've made a lot of very poor decisions, made a lot of great decisions. Hanging out with this guy over here.
I'm uncomfortable now.
Tip of the cap to you, Mrs. Corningstone.
Imaginary top hat? Imaginary opera gloves? What are we doing?
I have no idea what's happening right now. I think she did acid. You really kept it together this whole time. Is it just kicking in now?
Not okay up here.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, we're good. So we were thinking of trying to end because we do these high fives at the end of every episode, but we don't have necessarily something specific for the sex episode. So how about we try to do the bed high five again? But if anybody has, in a respectful way, a different suggestion for the ending of these.
Because I imagine immediately so many comments coming in like, kiss. Like, that's no.
Touch your hair.
Like, this is not what that's about.
This is about talking.
Like, like Star Trek thing where scissors.
We should definitely do that. Okay, this is the end of our next steps episode. We don't even need you.
I am brilliant.
I do need you.